Welcome back to Anita on the Mark, straight off the pickleball court, and to you. We are live on X, we're live on YouTube, and we have breaking news. Myself, of course, Anita Marks and Nevin Shapiro, and joining us, he's been on before, one of the best defense attorneys that this country has ever seen, and that's Murray Richmond. So Murray, we're thrilled to have you back on with us, and how appropriate. So let's get everybody up to speed. I'm sure the only way that you don't know what's going on, if you don't own anything social media, maybe you live under a rock. Let's get you up to speed. The jury has decided on P. Diddy Combs, okay? Guilty of only 2 of the 5. Count 1, racketeering, not guilty. Not a surprise for Nevin and I if you've been following, of course, our program. Count number 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion regarding Cassie, not guilty. Count number 3, transportation to engage in prostitution regarding Cassie and commercial sex workers, guilty. Count 4, sex trafficking, again with Jane, okay? Name not really known, not guilty. And then count 5, again, transportation to engage in prostitution and commercial sex workers, guilty. So only 2 of 5. Those 2 counts that he's been found guilty of, anywhere between pretty much a 10-year sentence, but a lot to dive into here. And Murray, that's why no one better than you to have on with us. So with what the jury's verdict and what they've decided, do you feel that this is a jury that got it right, first and foremost, Murray?
I think the jury has it almost right. I didn't see the case from the very beginning in the sense that I didn't see the people making out a prima facie case. But the fact that they didn't make out a prima facie case in federal court doesn't necessarily mean that the jury will not find them guilty. This is a compromise verdict. Clearly, they found the Diddy guilty of the charges, the least culpable charges in their mind's eye. And those were that the women engaged in the sexual conduct that was for prostitution purposes, and those are the only ones that they found them guilty. Not that they were forced, because the first 2 counts on each of the persons indicates forcible nature of the thing. This is a compromise verdict. This is a verdict that is favorable to the defense. I'm sure he would have preferred to be found not guilty of all charges, but he was not found guilty of all charges. And these are the less culpable charges that I perceive it to be. And as such, it's almost a win for Diddy. Almost a win. It's only a win if you walk away completely.
Again, and just to put it in layman's terms, not guilty of counts 2 and 4. So the jurors essentially saying they don't believe that there was proof beyond a reasonable doubt that they were, both of them, Cassie and Jane, were coerced or forced into sex acts. Now, guilty of 3 and 5 is the Mann Act, transportation, which the jurors essentially agreed in prosecution that they did prove that Combs paid male escorts to fly around the country to have sex with his girlfriends. That's what he has been charged with. Nevin, would love to hear from you right about now.
I think this is a colossal swing and miss by the United States government. I think they absolutely dropped the ball. I think heads are going to roll in that office. Somebody's going to be held accountable. This was they just dropped the ball, and with no.
You know something, Nevin, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I don't think they dropped the ball. I don't think they had a ball to play with. Yeah, frankly speaking, I think if he wasn't who he was, and I have no great love for him one way or the other, but if he wasn't who he was, this case never would have been brought because of the public relations. This is public relations type of case. This is showing the world that people are not going to get away with having a good time. Now, I'm not suggesting to you that what he did was right. I'm not suggesting to you that he's a nice guy. That is not the issue. The issue is whether or not a federal crime was committed and whether the crime rose to the level of a punishment which they seek to impose. It does not do so, in my estimation. Yeah. And this is a clear win for the defense case, but not a win-win, but a win to some extent.
He definitely is at the window collecting money. He won, no question, in the overall scheme of things. And like I never saw the RICO from the beginning. That is, you're talking about like a real mob related type, Cosa Nostra type situation. And that's not what this case was. Like, I couldn't believe they brought forward RICO charges on this. And I just think it's a big swing and miss on the government's part.
So I want to let folks know again, we're
Yep.
live on X, we're live on YouTube. You can comment. I'm monitoring your comments. If you have questions, again, to have Murray Richmond on the show is yeah, unbelievable. Especially right now with the conversations that are happening, and I'm sure questions that a lot of you might have. So you've got questions, comments. I'm monitoring them, and I will share them on the program. You know, and so really quick before we dive into what's next, right? Because Murray, we had you on before. We've had several other attorneys on with us, and so really everyone seems to be scratching their head, like, why did the federal government go after him with racketeering? It doesn't seem like any experienced, successful attorneys that we've had on this program have thought that they would be able to prove that with the evidence that they had in front of them. Why do you think that that the federal government moved forward with that, Murray?
Because he's a person of some note. You know, you can't be a giant killer unless you kill a giant. And he's the giant they wanted to kill. You know, they brought down R. Kelly. They brought down persons, Bill Cosby. They brought down. They're bringing this. They're trying to bring this man down. They have, to some extent. They showed him to be not the nicest person in the world, someone you don't want to be involved with. But the question I have to ask is, why does the government of the United States have to get involved with other people's moral estrangements, shall we say? If he gets his kicks in the strangest way, why is it the world's concern? Where does it hurt the world as a whole? I don't get it. I simply don't get it. And aren't we wasting our effort and energy and finances on cases that should not be brought in the first place?
Boy.
All right, gentlemen. So let's talk about what happens next. The defense has asked the judge to release Combs on bail. From what I understand, it's $1 million bond for him to be released and to go back to his Florida home. Obviously, the prosecution argues that he should still be detained. The lead prosecutor, Maureen Comey, told the judge that the defense was downplaying the significance of what Combs has been convicted of by suggesting that he should be able to go to Florida on a $1 million bond, quote unquote. There's a real risk that he'll be flagrantly disregarded, that he'll disregard orders from this court, and that he will commit new crimes, and that he will attempt to flee justice. So that's what the prosecution is saying. The defense obviously is saying he should go home to his Florida home while he waits sentencing. Murray, what do you expect to happen here? And by the way, 5 p.m. tonight, court is adjourned right now. They'll come back at 5 p.m. tonight, and the judge will have a decision whether or not they will grant P. Diddy the ability to go home on a $1 million bond. Murray, what do you think happens?
There is no question in my mind that the judge will sentence Diddy to a substantial sentence, but that's not the criteria.
Well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I'm curious. I want to know: is he going to be released? Do you think he'll be able to go home on bail?
I'm going to say I believe that he has every basis to authorize bail should be imposed. That he can go home. He is no longer a threat to tamper with the witnesses, which is what the reason they kept him in the first place. He's not going to run any place. He's too big a person to hide. Where's he going to go? Is he going to go to the former Soviet Union, to go to Russia? Is he going to China? He's not going there. He's an American citizen. He lives in America. He's not going anywhere else. To suggest that he's not entitled to bail is absurd. The Eighth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States says that a person is entitled to reasonable bail. Reasonable bail. You want to make it more than $1 million, Puffy can do it. But the question of the matter is, there is no reason to hold him in there now. None whatsoever.
None. He's got to go. He's leaving today, Anita.
Well, Nevin, earlier you said you heard a report that the judge said to him, "Are you ready to go back? Are you ready to get out of Brooklyn?" Right? Yeah. You said you would.
Yeah, I was watching that on I was watching that, just to be clear, on either Fox News or TMZ, but those were the two feeds I was watching, and that is what was stated on one of those.
Yeah.
Feeds. I can't remember which one, but yes,
so,
that is what was reported.
So we'll find out at 5 o'clock tonight. Again, the judge then will decide whether or not he's going to grant P. Diddy bail to go home to his Florida home. And so what does that mean? Nevin, I mean, you might know.
I'll speak. I was afforded bail, but wasn't allowed to make my bail. So I didn't see that other side of it. But what I would suspect is they'll either put an ankle monitor on him or there'll be some sort of tracking, but maybe they don't even need that monitor now anyway, because like Murray said, where's he running to? He could only hurt his own situation for sentencing purposes if he were to try something stupid.
But Murray, does he have to stay confined to his home? Is he allowed to leave his home?
The judge will institute certain privileges, a basis to formulate what he has to do. They'll allow him to go to church and or doctors or medical appointments. They'll allow him to do situations or visit business associates, provided that they inform the court or his probation officer what he has to do. There'll be formal reporting. All kinds of conditions will be imposed, but nevertheless, there's no basis to hold him without bail at this particular point. The fact that he has been convicted, now he has a right to appeal, and that appeal may be taking a year or even more, and he doesn't have to sit in jail for the whole year waiting for that appeal. So there's no reason to deny him the bail at this particular point.
Got it. Okay.
And on top of that, on top of that, where he has been serving his time in pre-sentence in his while he's fighting his case in
Brooklyn.
Like, let me just tell you something. That's not like an average waiting place. Like he wasn't doing this at home. There's like 3 to 1 days, good days he should be given back for staying in that hellhole.
It's interesting because Cassie Fleming, who was on with us yesterday, I spoke to her a few times today once the verdict was read, and she said that and what is it called again? The building that you should know,
MDC Metropolitan Detention Center.
Yeah, she said it's a hellhole. She said it's worse there than where he potentially will be sent.
I was there for 8 weeks, and it felt like it was 8 years.
Why, Nevin? Why so bad? Why is it so bad there?
Well, first of all, where he was in Fort North, which is he was in the solitary, he was in the SHU, which is special housing unit, solitary confinement, and then he was relinquished into like a part of that. So he's not like in a box, but he's still in a bigger box. And it's just miserable, Anita. Like it's just miserable. Just
because you have no interaction.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to if you want an intellectual conversation, you got to talk to yourself. It's terrible. It's horrific. It's just horrific.
Okay.
Anita, so it's jail, Anita. There's no question about it. But it's a detention center. There are no programs. There are no facilities. You can do nothing else. You can watch a television that 30 other people are watching at the same time. You have lunch, breakfast, and dinner, but you're in a line waiting for your food. There's no civilized behavior there at all. Everybody's fighting to get out, fighting for attention. It's a hellhole. There's no question about it.
And let's keep in mind that he's been there for almost a year. I think we like that hit
9 months.
Yeah, he's been there for 9 months. Okay, so what's the time frame, Murray, that you feel from now till when he has to show back up in court for sentencing? Is that a week? Is that a few days?
No. The minimum is 70 days, but it'll be more than 70 days. It takes that long to prepare a probation report. The probation report is then he'll be speaking to a probation officer and several other persons. They'll give a full written report to the court as to what they propose the sentence shall be, and the court will re-review that, give the counsel the opportunity to comment, submit submissions, and put submissions in on each and every one of the issues there. It'll take a good 120 days as a minimum before he's sentenced, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Maybe more. Yeah. I mean, 6 months would be practical very easily. Yeah.
So,
I mean, his PSR, which is his pre-sentence report that Murray's referring to, is there's going to be PSR objections. I mean, that's a 2-3 week exchange of information. Yeah, this is probably 6 months before he
So,
sees.
so him getting out on bail is huge. You're talking about being able to be home for the next 6 months.
More than that. More than that.
I
I'll
mean,
tell you why.
Yeah, then he has to report. Then
that's
he'll have to
huge.
report. Right, Murray, tell him. Tell
Anita,
everyone.
if he's home for the next 6 months and shows that he is behaving in a manner that's acceptable to the judge will impose sentence and give him additional time to surrender, which will be an additional 70 days at least. And and at that particular point, if he files a notice of appeal, he can ask for time pending the appeal and remain out for the entire appeal process. It could be actually years before he has to go to jail. That's if the judge permits that. But he has the option to do that. Now, if he goes in right now and the judge imposes a sentence of 10 years, he can easily do 2 or 3 years before the appeal is completed, which would deprive him of his constitutional right. He'll be, my God, incarcerated. And then if he's found not to have been guilty, he will have done time that can't be compensated for. I submit to you that the judge is reasonable, will give him bail, and the sentencing will not be imposed probably for a year or so or more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm
so
in
we're
agreement.
so we're if so you both of you are on the same page. You do believe that the judge is going to allow him the $1 million bond bail. He will be out and he will not be sentenced for at least 6 months to a year.
Anita, I'm not suggesting that the judge is going to go along with the $1 million. He might impose other conditions. He may make it 2 million or 3 million, or he may make it 1 million plus conditions that he has to report on a every other day basis. There are so many various possibilities, but there's no question in my mind, at least, for the sake of being fair, that the judge will indeed impose, give him the opportunity to have bail pending the sentencing and eventually bail pending appeal.
Okay, now to the most important question for you, Murray, and that is, based on the 2 counts that he has been found guilty of, the transportation to engage in prostitution. Both of these are, from what we understood, 10 years. So with that being said, first time being charged, what Nevin feels that he's going to get no time. There's a number of people out there who feels that he's going to have to serve no time. What say you, Murray Richmond?
He will get time. There's no way. There's no possibility of him walking away with no time at all. I submit to you that he will receive a sentence between 5 and 7 years, and that's my guess. That's my reasonable estimation. And I think a judge would be criticized if he were to give him no time at all. Whether I don't know what the government of the United States is doing involve other people's lives in their bedroom. This is a case that should have been brought in a state court where his behavior to the woman should be punished for what he did to her. But everything else, and that's what he's going to be punished for. And he's not going to be punished because he's had sex or brought the people in, but he's going to be punished for what he did to that woman. And that's the bottom line. Whether you call it something else, whether you want to justify it in some other way, that's what's going to happen. Now, of course, nobody has ever mentioned the possibility, and this is the clinker in the entire thing, whether the president is going to give him a pass on it later on. But that's something that's another story and another case.
So really quick, Nevin, just to fill you in, and of course our viewers and our listeners, the 2 charges that P. Diddy has been convicted of both carry a maximum of 10 years in prison, depending, of course, on what the judge decides at a later sentencing date. He could face up to 20 years. And Murray, I want you to comment on that. Prosecutor Maureen Comey said that the government will seek the maximum possibility sentence of 20 years. But the hip hop mogul's defense team will argue that he's a first-time offender who's already spent close to a year in jail. So real quick, Murray, there's been some debate or, miscommunication in regard to, and obviously I'm reading this and you're saying the same thing, since it's 2 counts of sex trafficking by force since it's 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution regarding victim 1 and victim 2, that it could be up to 20 years, correct?
It could be, yes, 2 separate crimes, absolutely.
Not that he was just, okay, he committed this crime, albeit with 2 separate women, so he's just going to get 10 years. Right, like it's one compounded by the other.
He can get 10 years or even less. The judge can impose a sentence, as indicated, 7 years, each count run concurrently. The judge can say 3.5 years each running wild, which is one against each other. So that will be 7 years. He can do any one of a series of number of things. The judge has that accessibility to the sentencing. He's going to depend upon the probation report to a great extent. The probation officer who's looking to watch his backside is going to make sure that he's going to recommend some time, but he's not going to recommend no time. I can tell you that's how they work. And that's what they will always do. They'll cover the backsides, and this is what they're going to do. And they'll find some basis to give him a time, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. He's not going to do 20 for those two charges.
Nevin, your thoughts? I know when we've spoken several times today, and a part of your gut is telling you that he's not going to serve any time. Why?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think they everything that Murray said, I agree with wholeheartedly. You know, this was not a RICO type case that they should have brought forward. This was a state court case. He's a despicable individual for what he did. But does that mean he's guilty of RICO? Obviously, the answer is no, because they had a jury and they considered all the evidence that they heard firsthand. Right? We're just hearing it, reports and whatnot. I just got this feeling. I sort of really like Murray's breakdown of the delay during the appellate process, and I think he stalls this situation out, and I think he avoids time. I really agree with Murray's rendition there. I truly do, and it's a strategic play for his defense team right now to play that. That's the hand. He won. Listen, let me just tell you something, Anita. He won. He might have lost in the eyes of public appeal, what kind of person he is and everything else. But like I said at the very, very beginning, when we started doing these, I said, if he's Al Capone, he's going away. If he's Caligula, he's despicable, but he's coming home, and he's Caligula.
I mean, so Murray, is there a scenario where he plays this out and plays this out and plays this out where he'll never serve time?
Oh, there's a possibility. If of course he's successful on the appeal, he does no additional time. There's no question about that. That's one of the factors that the judge is going to have to think in terms of imposing sentence. But there's no question in my mind, at least, or if the judge is trying to be fair at this juncture, that he'll give him bail pending this circumstance, so that he doesn't compound the error, if there is an error, and allow it to play itself out. There is no doubt in my mind that he's not going to get the full maximum sentence of the law. There's no question at all.
Okay, and just a few more minutes here, and that is, how do you think that this verdict is going to affect all the civil cases that are before him? Is it going to have any effect on those?
He's going to pay a lot of money. He's going to get heard civilly. There's no question about him. And a lot of his career is pretty much over in that sense of the word. But he's going to walk, and he's got enough money to live on for the rest of his life. I know who he is. I've known him, by the way. I've had some interaction with him over the years, and I know how he's going to play it. But that's the fact of the matter is, it's a win. It's a win-win situation. And I think the attorneys, who I always like attorneys, did a fantastic job on this particular case. There were 9 of them. There should be enough, celebration to go around.
Dream team, Nevin. Dream team.
No dream team. Anita, I disagree. No dream team. Everybody did a job. They didn't work together. They worked at cross purposes at times. I know some inside stuff, which I can't talk about. But the fact of the matter is, no dream team. Hardworking guys who pulled it off, and a jury who didn't want to listen to the government's position. And I give them the credit for that.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I mean, they colossal swing and miss on behalf of the United States government, and they're prosecuting.
Murray, any final thoughts before we let you go, my friend?
The final thought is we got to see whether I'm right or wrong. And Nevin, whether you're right or wrong, we're both on the same page. We know what we're thinking of, and we could be made to look like fools as soon as the judge comes back at 5 o'clock and says, "I'm not letting him out." If he doesn't let him out, everything we said goes right down the drain.
And if they don't let him out, does he stay in Brooklyn? Does he go somewhere else?
No, he
waiting
stays in Brooklyn until the sentencing, and the sentencing is at least a minimum of 70 days and probably 120 days. So it's another 6 months at least. So no matter how you cut it, it's not a good situation. I am of the opinion that he was going to get the bail. I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm looking forward to it.
I agree with Murray. And July 4th will never look so good to P. Diddy.
Really unbelievable. If you've missed any part of our live show, it will be posted on our X, our YouTube, and you can go back and watch it. Again, Murray Richmond, one of the best defense attorneys in the country, joining us to really do a deep dive into this verdict and what it means for P. Diddy Combs. Again, at 5 p.m. Eastern time today, the judge then will decide bail or no bail. Will P. Diddy have to stay in Brooklyn and wait for sentencing? Will he be able to go home to his Florida home at Star Island and wait there for sentencing? Obviously, that's what he would love to do. And as Nevin said, never a better 4th of July for the P. Diddy family if that's the case. So again, we thank everybody for subscribing, tuning in, your comments, all the things. And stay tuned. 5 o'clock, we will know more, and we'll stay on top of this case as well. Murray Richmond, again, really appreciate your time, wealth of knowledge, and blessed to have you on our program. I appreciate it. Happy 4th of July to you and yours. Nevin, thank you.
Thanks, Murray. Great seeing you.
Be well. Thank you.
Have a great night, everybody.